On this episode of China Uncensored, Theresa May start a golden era of UK-China relations? China's Belt and Road will squeeze you and then run you over. And finally, China's building weapons that could shoot down satellites. Good thing I'm also on cable. This is China Uncensored. Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. In our top story, according to my favorite Chinese state-run media, Chinese civilization isn't just ancient anymore, it's extra ancient. That's been proven. You know what that means? More things will be part of Chinese territory since ancient times. Like all world history. And while China may love Uncle Trump, he's taking a back seat right now to British Prime Minister Theresa May, also known as Auntie May.
梅姨是一个亲昵的表示方式，就像我们称呼携带大一样，表示我们非常喜欢这个人。
Whoa, that kid's got it mixed up. Trump is the uncle. She is the dada. So, Auntie Theresa May, Uncle Donald Trump, and Daddy Xi Jinping. That's a heck of a family reunion. No politics at the dinner table, everyone. Anyway, Prime Minister May made a 3-day trip this week to China. She said she will intensify the golden era in UK-China relations. Golden era is, of course, referencing what China was calling a golden era between China and the UK back in 2015. That's when Chinese leader Xi Jinping visited the UK and knocked back a few pints with then Prime Minister David Cameron, and, in the highlight of his trip, took a selfie with famous soccer player Sergio Aguero. Of course, that was years ago, and with the old Prime Minister before Brexit. But we can still have a golden era, right? Right? Well, the Chinese regime knows it might have an advantage over the UK now. As state-run newspaper Xinhua puts it, to mitigate the impact of a potential Brexit cliff edge, Britain is under immense pressure to consolidate bilateral trade relations beyond Europe. By beyond Europe, they mean with China. But don't worry, that wouldn't mean Prime Minister May is going to sell out human rights for economic gain, especially when it comes to raising concerns about the erosion of freedoms in the former British colony, Hong Kong. Wait, what's that, Shelley? Oh, she actually did sell out, and Chinese state-run media praised her for it. Pro tip, if the Communist Party state-run media is praising you, you've probably done something horribly, horribly wrong. So, what does all this mean for Hong Kong? Well, it means freedom there isn't free. In fact, it's priceless, because the Chinese Communist Party simply won't allow it. This is Agnes Chow. She's famous for her role in the 2014 Umbrella Movement, a several months-long protest against Beijing for going back on its promise of universal suffrage in Hong Kong. And now she's been disqualified from running for Hong Kong's Legislative Council. The Hong Kong government said she was disqualified because her political party, Demosisto, advocated for self-determination, which the government said was against Hong Kong's constitution, the basic law. But self-determination isn't the same as saying Hong Kong should be independent from China. It just means that Hong Kongers should be able to choose their own future. Therefore, it shouldn't violate the basic law. But surely Agnes was only disqualified because the Hong Kong government thinks someone with her point of view could never win. So really, they're just doing her a favor by saving her the trouble of running a campaign. It has nothing to do with increasing pressure from the CCP to undermine Hong Kong's elections. But this does follow the resentencing of another Umbrella Movement leader, Joshua Wong, and the disqualification of other democratically elected legislators Beijing doesn't like. So maybe there's a larger thing going on here. Chow is running to replace Nathan Law's seat in the Legislative Council. He had lost his seat for quoting Gandhi while taking his oath of office. Law was also from the Demosisto party, but he was allowed to run for office a year and a half ago. Strange how supporting self-determination wasn't an issue then. About 2,000 people showed up on Sunday to protest Chow's disqualification. And according to a new Pentagon report, China and Russia are developing weapons that could shoot down U.S. satellites by 2020. U.S. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis has called China and Russia a bigger threat than Islamic terrorism, a statement backed by Australia.
Australia has backed a new United States defence strategy naming Russia and China a greater threat to national security than Islamic terrorism.
I don't know, though. I hear ISIS is working on some pretty impressive anti-satellite technology. Hey, remember that song about China's Belt and Road Initiative from state-run media? Just wanted to get that earworm stuck in your head again. You're welcome. So despite all the talk about joint prosperity the Belt and Road most definitely will bring, turns out that might not be the case. According to this report from a U.S. think tank, pretty much all the contractors hired for the Belt and Road's ambitious construction projects are Chinese. By comparison, when multilateral development banks dole out contracts, most contracts go to locals. So the Belt and Road promises economic development, but then makes those countries borrow money from China to pay Chinese contractors to do most of the work. That can lead to economic ruin instead. That's a problem for African countries like Uganda.
Uganda says this road is the jewel in the crown of an infrastructure project to drive economic growth. Critics say it will lead to more debt. China lent Uganda $350 million, about 60% of the cost, towards building the 30-mile road.
Also, some of the buildings the Chinese regime has been building in Africa, like the African Union building, may have been bugged. Now, sure, that sounds bad, but have you considered this? That's the trouble with cheesy propaganda. You just can't stop listening to it. And another foreign company is in trouble with the Chinese regime over the status of Taiwan. Japanese retailer Muji has been ordered to destroy a furniture catalog because it had a map suggesting Taiwan is a separate country. The map also didn't show a string of islands both China and Japan claim. Japan has lodged a protest over China's bossing around a Japanese company. But I don't think China was too out of line here. I'd also want to destroy that furniture catalog. Not because of how Taiwan was labeled, but because all of Muji's furniture is just overpriced IKEA knockoffs. And a Chinese national was spotted illegally crossing the border into Laos, according to this CCTV footage on CCTV. They eventually caught him, interrogated him, and then forced him to join China's national basketball team. So what do you think? Leave your comments below. Thanks for watching this episode of China Uncensored. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time. Want to see more China Uncensored? Head over to ChinaUncensored.tv, where you can see full half-hour episodes of the show for free. That's ChinaUncensored.tv.